Hi, my name is Ava, and this is What is Health?
I'm Mady.
I'm Megan.
I'm Allie.
Today we're going to be talking about how media impacts health. So I think we all can agree that media has a huge impact on all aspects of health, and I think we can all see that through TikTok, Instagram, whether it's positive or negative. When you go on different platforms, specifically like TikTok, you get like a variety of videos and that talk about a variety of things from different people claiming to know the new medical or mental cure for people. I personally get videos all the time about people who show like a new workout or that will allow you to lose weight in a week, or green juice that will get rid of all of your problems. I think it's really hard to find what is actually going to work with so many different people posting about different things that contradict each other all the time. And I'm going to ask, do you guys tend to see that as well when you're scrolling on social media?
Yeah.
For sure. I feel like I take birth control, and I think a lot of TikToks like, oh, you shouldn't be taking like oral birth control, blah, blah, that's bad for you. Like, it's like non-medical professionals saying this. It's like, you don't know, everyone's body is different. So like, why are you judging me because I'm taking like birth control? And like, they're like, oh, if you're on it for so long, like, you're not going to be able to have kids or this and that. Mm-hmm. And so then like, I get in my own head and I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe I should like stop taking it. But like, there's reasons why I'm on it, and like, my doctor is okay with it. Like, she's obviously the one who has prescribed it for me, and like, I've been on it since I was in 7th grade. So like, it's been like 6 or so years, like more years, and like, she's comfortable with me being on it still. So like, I can't listen to the media telling me all these terrible things about why taking oral birth control is so bad, when like my doctor, who I fully trust since I was young, is fine with me taking it.
Yeah, especially with like everything that like has been happening recently about abortions and stuff. They're talking about banning contraceptive. Like, I for one, I switched my birth control because I was like scared that they were going to get rid of it. I've been on the pill since like you are 7th grade, and just recently I changed birth controls because I was like, if they do get rid of them, like, what am I supposed to do? Because I've been on it so long, like, I'm so used to it, and I was just like, forget what everybody else is saying, forget what the media is saying about birth control and how it's possibly coming away. Just do what you feel comfortable doing. So I switched mine, and it's so funny because now, like, mine's like, I don't have to worry about taking a pill every single day. And every night before I'm going to bed, I'm like, I'm forgetting something. And in my mind, I've been taking this pill for so many years, like almost 10 years, really, and it's weird, like, not taking it. But I feel a lot more comfortable, especially because, like, I walk downtown going to school. I'm by myself more than half the time, and I do have, stuff that will protect me. But, if, the world's crazy, and if something does happen, like, I want to make sure I'm protected. So, yeah, no, I just tend to forget what the media is saying and just focus on, like, what you want to do in your life and what you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, like, specifically with like physical health, everyone's different, and something that works for one person isn't going to work for everyone. Mm-hmm. And specifically with birth control, like, I know that people talk about how like it makes you gain weight, it gives you acne, but it's like not all birth control does that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or people react to the same birth control so differently, so it's like you can't really rely on people and what they post, because mm-hmm. it's like they're not you, and you have to find what works for you.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, it's the same way with diets and with, exercise regimens, and, oh my gosh, this new, workout program is the best, and you're going to drop 10 pounds in 2 weeks, and you're going to, and it's not that way. I mean, that program was designed for a specific body, and not even just a specific body type, but a specific individual. And so it's not going to work the same. And that's the same way with diets. Everyone's body needs different amounts of different things. So it's, everything's like that, and the media has totally almost like defaced physical health and things like that.
For sure. Well, and I feel like especially because, like, the younger generations who should be out exercising, like, most of the time, just, like, to build, like, who they are, they're, like, so into social media and TikTok and stuff. Like, they don't even play outside anymore. And, I feel like social media is, like, it can be good and it can be bad, but I feel like that they do need to reach out more to the younger generation and be like, hey, like, why don't you take a break? Why don't you set limits for yourself and, enjoy being a kid, run outside, just play on the playground, stuff like that, and not focus on what's going on in the world. And I don't know, I just feel like social media, it just really messes with like the younger generations, and it makes me wonder, like, after the kids after us, what are they going to be like, when they're in our position? And these kids are going to be set to be young adults, and some are going to run for Congress, run for president, stuff like that, but they've been inside their phones face first for all these years. So it's like, how is that going to impact us in the future?
Well, their public speaking.
Yeah.
Like, what is their public speaking going to be? Because they're so used to talking to people through social media. And, I'm part of, we're all part of that generation that is, media first. But it's honestly sad to sit in a room and watch two teenagers text each other from across the table, or Snapchat each other from the room. They're in rooms right next to each other, and it's like, what are you doing? Get up and go talk to that person, because that's developing you as a person. And it, you just need to learn to discuss with people, so you can see it from all kinds of angles.
Well, it makes you also wonder, how is like obesity going to be like, because if they are just sitting on their phone, they don't go outside, they don't exercise, what is that going to look like? I don't know. I feel like the media, and especially the parents, because like we've talked about that in class before, like who's responsible. And I feel like the parents should definitely start limiting their child. Like they can set limits on their technology devices. Maybe the parents don't know how to do that, or maybe they're worried that their kid's gonna have a meltdown or whatever. But who cares? At the end of the day, you're benefiting them in the future.
But a lot of parents don't parent anymore.
Yeah.
A lot of parents shove technology, their phones, an iPad, a tablet, a computer, a laptop in front of their kids just so they'll be quiet and not bother them. And that's not being a parent. Being a parent is interactive. You have to, from day one to for the rest of your life, pretty much, because even once they hit 18, they still look for your advice, and they still look up to you to some extent, and they still need you. So parents need to start parenting.
And like I feel like that goes along with like, when is it like appropriate for a kid to like have a phone? Like kids are like Facebook kids, like that's like a thing. Like my cousins have that. I'm like, you guys are 5 years old and you're messaging me like through social media already. Like
5? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like, and like they don't even know how to like even write yet. So it's like they use like the speaker on like them to like communicate, like, oh, hi Megan, how are you doing? Blah blah blah. So like, and it's not like the 5-year-old has a phone, but like I got my phone when I was in 6th grade. Like, I started riding the bus by myself because my brother was still in elementary school. But, like, there's kids who I babysit now, and, like, they have, like, an iPhone 7 or, like, 6, like a smaller, like, older generation phone. But it's, like, they still have access to social media. They still have access to all the games they want. Like I just don't feel that having a phone, like, before middle school is like appropriate. Personally, that's my personal belief on that.
And like I got a phone earlier than my mom would have, but I was in sports. I was an all-star cheerleader, so we would carpool with other girls on my cheer team, and so I was on my own, and my mom needed a way to contact me directly if needed, or vice versa. So I only had a phone when I was. It was either 6th or 7th grade, but it was because I was getting myself off the bus, and we lived in the country. What if something happened?
Yes.
What if the house caught on fire? So like my mom had reasons for getting me a phone earlier, but I also know that she wouldn't have given me a phone that early had I, not been in those situations.
Yeah. I agree, for sure.
I got my phone when I was in 4th grade. Because I know that sounds like so crazy, because like you're like 7, 8 years old. But my parents they got divorced when I was 4. So my dad, obviously lived in a different house than my mom and I did. And every Wednesday I would go hang out with him, every other weekend, blah, blah, blah. And, he was like stuck in this like sort of like depression because like he missed my mom so much. So like literally the only thing that like him and I would do together is sometimes we'd go ride bikes and stuff, which was fine, but like he wouldn't know how to interact with me or how to like feed me or whatever, like he was so used to like pizza or whatever, or takeout food. So my mom would call and check on me and every now and then to make sure like I was like eating and stuff, because especially like when you're a new parent and you're newly divorced, like that like really like stuck with him. So he was so used to making ramen, and just like we had 2 separate living rooms, and he would put me in one living room and then he'd go in the other, because he didn't really know how to interact, because I think that like he saw so much of my mom in me. So I do. I mean, I had like a flip phone, so like there's no way I could get on social media, and I didn't even know what any of that stuff was back then. But I like had to be able to contact my family like somehow if like something happened. So I definitely think that, you know, have you ever been on Netflix and like maybe like it's a kids version and they have all of the adult profiles locked besides the kids one? Maybe they should start doing that with social media. Like you can lock the app and only the parents or the teenagers or whoever has the password to do it because the kids are starting to get addicted. And maybe like even with TikTok, limit their time. And you know, I've been seeing a lot about TikTok in the news and how he's trying to fix things for the younger generation and set limits. Maybe you should set like a 20-minute limit and then automatically lock the app. I'm sure that they can do that. I mean, look at Netflix. They've already done it. I mean, I'm sure it's not that hard to do.
That reminds me, like, Kim, like, Kardashian, like, North, like, her daughter has, like, they share, like, a TikTok. Mm-hmm. And, like, the comments are turned off, but, like, she posts on there all the time, like, by herself or with her cousins or with her mom or something like that.
Weirdest stuff.
And, like people are obsessed with it. And I think it's just weird that, like, older people are, like, obsessed with this. I don't know how, I think she's 9 or, like, 10. But, like, are obsessed with her TikTok. Like, oh, my gosh, like, Northwest TikTok. Like, that is so cool, blah, blah, blah. Like,
calling
it's, like,
her an icon and
like,
stuff.
she's an icon already.
Like,
like, obviously she is a legacy. But, like, it's just, like, it's just so weird. Like, and, like, Kim allows that. Like, Kim's name is, like, on there. So, like celebrities' kids are doing it. I mean, just average kids, like, do it. It's just so weird how, like, the media, like, just affects everybody. Like, from when they're out of the womb till, like, death.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of kids on TikTok like right now, and it's like kind of scary to think that these young kids, like when I was their age, I had no idea what social media was or like didn't really care to get on social media at that age, but now these kids are getting on social media, they're getting on TikTok, and they're seeing the things that I'm seeing, and some of the things that I see on TikTok I would never want a child to see. Or if they're posting, the people are mean.
Yeah.
The
world is cruel.
Oh, and then they start talking about, like, body shaming people.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, well, you have to look this way because, you know, I look this way or whatever. So it's putting that in, like, those kids' mindsets. Oh, I need to be prettier. Oh, I need to be, you know, skinnier or something like that, you know. And that's not the case. But they don't know anything else. And, you know, and speaking about, like, the things that they see, you know, besides body shaming, they see stuff about, you know, the murder trials. Or they'll see stuff about, you know, inappropriate things. And because we all know how TikTok can be. I mean, there's different sides of it. So, you know, maybe they need to just create a separate app, TikTok Kids, and make them do that. I mean, why, you know, they talk so much in the media how we're trying to protect the younger generations. Why doesn't every social media platform make a separate app for kids?
And then that puts the responsibility back on the parents.
Exactly.
To download the kids' version on their kids' phones instead of the actual version.
Yeah.
So is that a solution?
Yeah.
I think these young impressionable kids like are seeing so many negative things, and they don't need to be seeing that, and then they take that information and bring it into their like life outside of social media, and like this causes like kids just to be like, they can be like meaner, like way more rude to kids around them because that's what they see on TikTok. The comments are like gross, and especially kids when they post on TikTok, there's like adults and like grown men commenting on their posts, and it's just like really disgusting to see.
Yeah. Well, a lot of things have been happening recently. I mean, school shootings have been happening like wildfire in the past, like I'd say 5-6 years. And you know, the Nashville shooting just happened recently, like 2 or 3 days ago. And on TikTok, I've been seeing all these things about it, about how, you know, who the person was, how many kids died, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, it's scaring those kids that are on those social media platforms and be like, is my school next?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
But that's a worry for everyone. I mean,
exactly.
Parents are terrified to send their kids to school. And, like, thinking about it because, you know, it's blown up recently because I think it was yesterday.
Oh, was it yesterday?
Yeah, the Nashville shooting at the Christian elementary school happened yesterday. And so, you know, like, I was thinking about it, and, you know, I literally thought, about our communications class, and I was like, I sit right in front of the door. If someone walks in that door, like, I'm the first like, for our classroom. So, you know, like, you can't help thinking about, and we leave the door open. So it's like, I can't help think, like, well, what if someone walked, like, even on our campus, and it's like,
Michigan.
I can't imagine what parents think, because just knowing how much that my parents love me and that my mom loves me, like, how devastated she would be. And it's awful to think that parents are going through, like, losing their children at, like, 8 and 9 and
awful.
Below and older. Like, parents are losing their children, and they shouldn't be, because of people who we clearly need to help.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think that is something that our country needs to work on, is helping people with mental health, mental illnesses, because it is awful for them to go through that themselves, but it's also affecting everyone.
Well, and especially because, like, half those survivors, like, I remember seeing, it was one of the Florida shootings, you know, it sounds horrible because I can't even remember which one, you know, but most of them turn out to be public speakers. So then they have to relive that experience that they went through all the time, because that's what they, like, speak about all the time. So I don't really know. I just know that, you know, it is terrifying going to school. But, you know, if they're already putting, like, that mindset in those kids that are on social media at such a young age, they will be terrified, just like we are. But they're kids. Like, they don't know how to process that. Then, you know, maybe they'll have thoughts about, oh, well, you know, I've seen this all over the social media. Maybe I need to do that or whatever, you know. It gets them thinking.
Yeah, they need to be seeing videos about, like, crafts. Like, oh, look at this DIY. Like, look at this, or look at, like, this is how you make this batch of cookies. Like, and it doesn't just have to be to, you know, but, like, look at, like, this game that we came up with to play outside. Like, kind of, like, they need to be looking at that kind of stuff. And, like, kids don't need to be worrying about what's happening in today's world. Like, it's scary enough as it is. Like, we're 19 and 21, and it's like, I don't even want to worry about it, because I don't even want to look at it every day. And I don't necessarily have to, but I do choose to keep myself updated on world events and stuff. And it's like, I don't even want to look at it. So, like, why should we even be allowing kids, why should they even have the opportunity? They shouldn't be worrying about that stuff.
Yeah. Well, you know, and speaking about what I mentioned earlier about how most of those kids turn out to be, like, public speakers and stuff, I've been seeing a lot on social media, especially after we talked last week in Megan's video about suicide walks. And, you know, I told you multiple stories that, you know, I've my personal experiences. And we actually signed up to do one of the Suicide Out of the Darkness walks this weekend. So, you know, there's a lot of public speakers who, you know, some may have attempted, some have lost a child, a sibling, whatever. So we're going to be going to that this upcoming weekend, which is going to be, you know, it's a lot of emotional stuff that you have to, like, go through. But, you know, it is exciting I wouldn't say exciting, but, like, it makes me feel more comfortable going there, like, hearing everybody's stories and be like, okay, I'm not alone, you know? So I feel like social media does, like, you know, there's tons of negative stuff, as we've been talking about, but, you know, it can bring awareness to certain issues.
Yeah, I think going back to, like, just the mental health of how social media impacts people, and especially, like, people our age, and actually just going off of what we were talking about in class today, it's like, it causes people to just, like, change who they are to please the crowd that they're, whatever, like, if you're posting, you're talking to someone, you're in a group, you're presenting something, like, you don't want to do something to be embarrassed, you don't want to get made fun of. And I feel like social media is, like, the exact place for that, because people are way meaner behind a screen than they would be in person. And so when you're posting videos on TikTok, or at least even, like, personally for me, like, I posted videos on TikTok and I'm like, oh, I don't want to post this. Like, what if somebody makes fun of me? What if someone I know sees this and is like, wow, that was, like, super embarrassing? And it's just something that, like, it really shows my personality, and it's, like, something that I wanted to do, but, like, I don't even feel comfortable doing it because I am worried about, like, the backlash that I'm going to get.
Yeah.
Or somebody going to call me fat, or somebody going to say I'm ugly. It's just, like, all these different things, because anybody can get on TikTok. And, yeah, like we were saying with kids, but, like, even our age, like, we're all adults, and I am definitely still impacted by everything I see on social media.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's like something that like probably will carry with us like throughout our life.
Oh, for sure.
And like just feel like, oh, if I post this, like even like when we have kids, oh, should I post this about my kids or this and that? Like, is someone gonna like take it the wrong way, or like does it look like I'm bragging or like something like that? Like it's always just gonna be negative in your own head, even though it should be something positive that you should be sharing about. Or like graduation, like, oh, if I post a graduation photo, like is someone be like, oh my god, she doesn't deserve that, blah blah blah, like she like cheated her way through like college or high school or whatever. Just like everyone will nitpick. You're gonna always nitpick your own posts or like things that you say and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've been seeing a lot more and more, like especially celebrities, but like even people that I know that will like block their children's faces like from social media because they don't want them to be, you know, in the spotlight of that and receive the backlash. You know, and I honestly think, you know, we can sit around here talking about solutions and whatnot. There will never be a solution. There will never be a change in how social media impacts any of us. And, you know, that's just something that we're going to have to learn to live with, and it sucks. But, and it, you know, it makes us think, well, maybe like when we're a little bit older, we'll just stop using social media altogether because we're sick and tired of hearing the backlash. So, I don't know. I'm interested to see how the next generation is going to handle being an adult with social media, and I'm curious to know how we're going to interact, you know, with one another, since, you know, we grew up in the time frame of, you know, we were playing outside, we were hanging out with friends more, and then social media hit us at like our early teenage years.
Yeah.
So, you know, how are we going to be different when, you know, 20, 30 years from now? Are we still going to wish that those days were still around where we were kicking the ball outside? Or are we still going to wonder, oh, is so-and-so going to comment on my post today and call me fat or whatever, you know?
Or is his Snap score going to go up but he didn't, like, I'm still undelivered or something like that.
Yeah.
And, like, I feel like when are we going to grow out of social media at all? Like, am I going to use my Snapchat account until I'm, like, 50 years old? Like, am I gonna keep streaks? Like,
my friends and I have been talking about that.
When do I get rid of my Snapchat? Like, I feel like my Instagram, that's something that like is gonna help me like in my career path when I'm older. But like I'm still snapping my friends now, and I'm like, okay, I'm 19, but like, and then I use that to communicate with them. Like, I text my best friend, I'm like, oh, I'm here on Snapchat. Like, it's just like I don't actually use my like physical text message like on my iPhone. Like, I use my Snap, or like I'll send her a picture. I'm like, oh, I'm in your house. Like, hey, and like. When am I gonna outgrow that? Am I gonna outgrow that? Like, am I gonna
get a little bit older? Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. My mom has Snapchat.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of adults have it,
but she doesn't use it like I do. But she uses it to like. She still has one, and so she has that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess my stepmom, she uses it like to put filters on my dogs and stuff.
Well, I've been so disgusted by social media that I've actually been off of Instagram and Facebook for like 2 months now. And it's great to know because I feel like I have control over my life again. Like, I feel like when we're on social media is controlling us. Mm-hmm. And I, you know, like, not that I lost that much control because I don't think I ever really let it control me, but the fact that it can control some people. Because my mom raised me to be so independent and so, like, outgoing, that I was like, you know, I don't want to watch this, I'm not going to watch this. Like, if I don't believe it. Like, I'm so stubborn and, you know, strong-minded anyway. But it's like...
You don't say.
That I'm like, well, you know, like, I don't believe in that. Or, you know, I look it up and I think that, like, the younger generations need to stop using social media to learn about, like, politics and stuff as well. Yeah. Because that's not a reliable... valid network to get it from. Yeah. Like, I do suggest watching the news for this is what's happening in the country, this is what's happening in the world today. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because you don't, like, you're watching your favorite influencer and they're like, oh my gosh, this is happening, and it's like, are you believing that because that's what they believe and you're trying to be like that influencer?
Exactly.
Or are you believing that because that's actually what you believe in? Because there's a point where you have to step away and say, I am my own person and I can be my own influencer. So what do I believe in?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
It's funny that you mentioned that because I'm in an argumentative writing course and I'm taking, I'm writing this paper. It's a series of papers. And my subject is social media and political engagement. And I've been talking more and more about how, TikTok and Instagram and Twitter and all this stuff, especially when elections happen, how they try to influence the young generations, the young voters on, you should follow me this way, you should be on this path or whatever, because the country's so divided. And I'm really curious to see, how we were just speaking about earlier, the kids that are younger than us. How are they going to be when, they're running for president or whatever, if they're stuck in social media and they're not receiving their information from like a reliable source, they're just looking on Instagram.
absolutely.
I definitely agree with that. And I think we all can agree that there's like a lot of negatives on social media, but like going with that exact point, there is like a positive to that as well. Like, yes, like there's a lot of fake news and like incorrect news that's going out, but at the same time it's like the stuff that you're seeing on TikTok is like, or at least for me personally, I don't even remember where I just wrote this. I feel like I wrote it like on a paper or something, but it's like you're seeing both sides of pretty much every argument when you're on TikTok. Like I'm on TikTok and I have my views, but then I'll see a completely different side of it, so I'm getting more information than I would, but I'm not like just gonna go off of everything that I'm reading. Mm-hmm. I do go and like search up
that you do your own research,
which is something that a lot of people don't do, but I'm still getting like multiple sources and not sources, but like multiple ideas, and I'm not just hearing one side of an argument, I'm hearing all sides because everyone's on TikTok. And like that is at least one positive I feel like from social media, and there are other positives as well. It's like you're getting in contact with people that you haven't been. But, I feel like the big negative is, like, it's just, like, it makes people super distant and, like, from people that they know, like you were saying. It's, like, when you're on social media, like, you don't want to talk to people. And, like, maybe, like, I might Snapchat somebody instead of calling them. It's, like, it just really impacts you. But I did want to go into one more thing about how, like, the news has also impacted health. Mm-hmm. I think that the news is, like, also a really big thing, maybe for, like, older people. I mean, I don't really watch the news. I like get on TikTok and find my news through that.
Exactly.
And I feel like a lot of younger people do that as well, but like, some people still watch the news. But I think like I was saying or like you were saying, there's a lot of misinformation that can lead to people getting like the wrong information about health related stuff. Especially like during COVID, people were getting like a bunch of different information. They didn't know who to listen to. They didn't know what they were supposed to do. And there's just always people on the news telling you what you should and shouldn't do, and then there's another person telling you the exact opposite. And I'm just like the news is just very impactful because there's always two sides of every story.
And that's something that I don't understand. There's different news outlets like Fox News, CNN, ESPN, stuff like that, and they will be sharing things that it's happening in the world, but you don't know which one to trust. But if this is like some really big news, why doesn't every single news outlet report the exact same stuff? And, you can't help to think maybe it's because of their political views. Like Fox News is mostly, it's been leaning towards the right. And then like CNN or NBC, they lean towards the other way. So, I've never really understood that, why, it's the same news story, like coronavirus or, suicide awareness or, TikTok, for example. But yet there's so many different stories out there besides the truth.
And that's like, I was told once, and it's really stuck with me, what is the news telling you, and what are they trying to hide by covering it up with a different story? Mm-hmm. So, what are they trying to keep behind closed doors? Why are they telling this story? What are they keeping, what are they not? So,
and what are they not fully saying about that story?
Yeah, and so back to it, I mean, I'm not saying, like, the news is like my holy grail, like it's not at all. I do watch the news, like I'm probably one of very few of our generation who does watch the news, but I also do my own research, and I look up my facts to make sure that it's right. So like I find I found the news channel that is, most related to my views and my beliefs, but I also do still double check myself and them.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and that's something I don't think that will ever change, and the country's just so divided in general, and then the news outlets and them sharing these stories, they're telling one political side, this is our truth, and then the other side is telling something completely opposite. And, I feel like the news outlets also have something to do with how this country is so divided. And I don't think it'll ever get any better, because they're all about views, and, they're all about people signing up to subscribe for their, network or whatever. It's dumb.
Yeah, I think that's really good. Like, I think that we all pretty much have, like, very
And I think
similar.
I think that we touched on, like, a lot of things that have hurt us in the media, and a lot of things that we worry about for the younger generations and our future, because that's something that we really need to focus on. We're in college, we're working towards our future careers and stuff, so you can't help but think, what's it going to be like in 20-30 years.
Yeah, that was a great discussion. Thank you for listening to What is Health?